Well, you better cause that would be a sister Wajibra also a bedroom or doing TV multiple. Make out say, you know, Coco Pims and Uncle permanent and you know, you're there, Fiaman Quatamacula, Professor E.K. Wallace. I don't see that as CP, say, will be a kind of sister Sandy be a guy. I don't see that as almost what to me. My brasso say, yeah, the attract or bedroom jubilation to the same Mpensenpensemu, a de bro. Macau say compute Ghana at a prime week in him. Na the prime week in the moya say omde shishabia to aquemwa. Oh, enjoy one of the best products in the world. Now prices is extremely competitive. It is a TCL, Sunny, Bluetech, Senko, HP, Lenovo, Techno, any de kaka hona make out a compute Ghana a hona benya. O laptop name. Or printers, no desktop, no toners. Any nyoma IT homes and sembiano a year compute Ghana. TV, no fridge, no freezers, you know, compute Ghana. Did they make actually said this is one special week come out to this the prime week where unya kwenya kodi bia tonio ma papa wo no mane bonus no e wo from pa compute Ghana say oko ono branch bi e wo man baby a obenya bi ato. For one war 0302 752 020 and I said 0243 143143 and yeah only for WhatsApp inti channel so na team nimo in nisa inkita hono Bill Ghana Post amyanya ntie se ene the opposite de kwa mana ni bia no. One of the easiest things I bet my and say Odema EMS parcel service now very fast, very affordable, and very reliable. Inti Ghana Post to say the up say only did you maybe ano Faber Domomo be up as on the core amano nibiano so on medisa a year jumedino a day amount. Chairman Amankwa, Robert Amankwa, former Ashanti Regional Chairman. Also, offers in impon edda from the madman now, Chiwi, and shedding, and Yako Cassia pa and Mede Emma. Majidi say, Erika, you was a trouble when there was a dim commotion could be another pay, and he also why a crado. So, why a crado they are. Nayina Yembumna Yemma, the newly elected majority leader, Yera a year. Alexander Kwamena Afenyo Markin, born on the 27th of May, 1978. He said, "Amenoka said, or a member of Parliament for Ifutu constituency in the Central Region. Was a member of the Committee of Defense and Interior in Parliament. Kopim se obeye eye doma edosono omo anodifo no dan oye the deputy majority leader or 8th parliament. Oba na disua ho entity enso a usua emra University of Buckingham LLB MGT 2003-2006. Iwi echi no abasobode sonko ede man no law certification and also obewura Ghana School of Law 2007 ekopim 2009 wamana so wa otoaso no nya Emmy in International Politics and Security Studies at the University of Bradford 2009 ekopim 2010 onyamenu mnikweni se oka na disua wonsema ebre ne adaje ebeboy ade ba ko a asi nani so a oguso a oye bribiada a wato din the Ifutu dream baby a ono no ehwesa ampeso ano so no oso woni so ade hunu ene botai soronko bi de masa eye adehye na wo no nti February 2020 and that dream no ose obemana ba into realization nti oboa futuman amenei omobo bre ni nyoma amane ni nyoma bebre wo no ma ene Ghana adehye no ene ahoho nyina no enya akwanya ekɔ efutuman na omutimi kɔhwɛ omoni so ade na ebi nso de sika ɛyɛ dɛ ɛkɔ hyem ɛmaare mfi ɔno nso ne mmarahyɛ bedwani a onya akwanya ɛkɔ ebibire mmarahyɛ bedwa mu no otimi kɔ preya mɛnei ɛkɔ was mpanyinfo nhyiam die no ebi nso abɛfefa ɛyɛ ne mpɛsoa no so tena maka kyerɛ sɛ yɛka sɛ yɛgye ne kana ba kɔsɛm de a ɛbɛha adwe. It is not surprising sɛ ɛbra ne din bɛtɔ odwa no even amongst the nuanoma omo NDC, they all felt very, very okay and very, very good. And a large percentage of the youth especially, and so Ebose, without any party coloration. And Charles, apart from so yeah, in MPP no, Ghana and so Dana Komaso, and our servo continuously as an inspiration to Emebuna, one person omudu omoji amanyo semu. Because he believes in going through the process and coming out as brimstone. Na boa amadi unso person yibian etimi ahihye so. Once again, yeah, congratulating you. Join me to welcome Nimnyamfo Afenyo Markin. Onabakwaba.
Yeja, Omahi.
And congratulations.
Thank you, Ndasipi.
Now, has the journey been that long?
It's been a long journey, and well, I never thought that day would come, but it has come. Tia bada nyankopon ase. Mahin ma memfa akwenye eduna. Menda enyu nua Dominic nso ase. Enyu nua Dominic. Nkran oyehu. Nkran krom ha oyehu. Nyame ye na doma ye fi simpa ye be politics won kran. Our Parliament 2013, 2014, 2015. Binum bo wochi mo po zemokoto asem. Na wazemokoto asem no. Ayi anyankofo nsɛmtwerɛfo a menyim ho na menyim dɛ sɛbe wobotum na wogyina wɔn nado na waka asɛm no kɔrɔ wom eze akyerɛ Ghana mani nyinaa no ho na anyɛ yɛrɛ mbaka dɛm asɛm no ndɛ na mbom sɛ amepɛ dɛ meka ma obiara tinye dɛ nyɔnkopa a wɔyini sie wɔn nsa no fun esuom no yɛ na awo enyi wunya Dominic wɔbɛ me fie wɔ abelempe wɔbɛkyekye me rɛ mo kasa so wɔ TV do ma ɔman nyina hu dɛ sɛ even if you are a lone voice you will stand on the side of truth. And ɔman send them Godo as leader of Parliament. Awo nhyɛne bi kam.
Amen.
Enyi wunya Dominic zamoye eka de odu baby eba me nche na ofie na efra hwan a wo zibon no kor ka chen nti young man here wo se ne career ofie de obobo ana na nyimpa ne ka chiro de yene na evi ya finish no, and you told the person boldly there it will never happen, you will fight. That day na mo begina me gate na no, I hadn't called you, but I didn't even know you knew my house. Nti nyankopon nhyira. Saint Francis of Assisi ne mpaiba oboy a yenya Roman fu yezechi also, God, Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is discourse, union. Part of the prayer and also there, where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is sadness, joy. You played that role at the time that I was in crisis. You were there. You brought me hope that I don't give up. Okay? You renewed my faith. And that sadness in me, your presence alone brought me joy.
Leader, thank you.
Thank
you.
The journey has been rough.
But how did you get into politics?
some friends pushed me into it. I think it was one morning when I was in final year law school, our Buckingham. I was flying on Friday, and my classmates were friend and Asante. Me started day nursery. Nti the man no pa fida no pa no. Mo no wa ba me gate wa bofu. That time na me wa bofu. Oba ya na asemi there. There was a candidate for MPP. Oye Yamo Okufo. Now one step down the Uncle Bill. He had won the primaries. Now one step down the Uncle Bill. Now and if no or one a polling station executive be over there. Nenya unko na oye no cross school no. Wofra na Alex no. Wopede onu na obejina. Nti obeya na asemi. Na me say in fact, my career plan was not to get into politics. My career plan was to make money, do business.
I knew as young as you are, no, now tipper trucks.
Make money, build my business empire, and then get into the judiciary, become a judge. That was my plan. I wanted to be a judge. You know, and I'd written it, my blueprint, things that I'd written, what I want to do. I wanted to be a lawyer, a businessman, and then when I'm settled in, I get to the judiciary, get called to the bench, and become a judge. And then after that, do something else that I won't discuss it now. So that was my plan. So politics, Minyanko Nana Asante, he served as an assemblyman in Kojobedu South, where I served as an assemblyman for 2 terms, and he just stepped down. So he actually came to me that Friday morning that Asemesi was in Penyon and Obiase I should be in. Because at the time, I had set up an NGO, Youth Advancement Foundation, and we were helping a lot of the youth. So, and I'd gotten involved in the politics of Ifutu, Nami, a financial secretary for the constituency. And one of the contestants, Dr. Champo, I was his main supporter at the time. And in fact, I was his polling agent during the primaries that he lost to Yamo Okufo. So I think the people had seen me, and then Ono Asante no Obey. And then Obey also, some of your classmates in the BCO, and then Yazika Shadow, when almost everything was almost done, in Payfuna win, but was no way. Our small boy was 25, was as a MP and Makwan. And also, yes, they did them. So eventually, I had to defer my program. I couldn't go back to school. And then, politics now. So a day to the filing. So Dan Boche, Rita Sobaye, Lord Comey, and Jake were on my side. And then Mrs. Okujeto, of blessed memory. And Harun Neseku, the national chairman, was against me. Also, I was too young. Ono Krano, he became an MP for the area when he was 32. And then 25, what are you going to do? So, Eseku said no. And the day to the filing at EC, and Dambuchi asked me to do my tax returns. And I was going to get in. Into my tax returns, BBR. And now, by 3 o'clock, it was a Tuesday. What's the day we here in our castle? Now you cry, you can some President Kufuor said, Sadamiza, woman monko. It was more or less a done deal. Inti Kasanumana one council of elders no cur. Oman Sado. The President Kufuor addressed him the lawyer, something like that. And then Mr. Kosa of blessed memory. Oman Sado say, President no lawyer, na law no way. Then President Kufuor no ban on na we school na Ubeko Parliament. Then he asked whether I was a Legon or something. So, Mo UK also Debbie. No, assembly sign Denny Bio. On Obeshe is super baby. Debia, one and not Debia, the so Papa was Uncle. Baby or the room. I was, hey, Alex, Castle de Form Nerusu, and all. So, eventually, now they had prepared somebody. Mr. Usaji, he was then the chief director. And then he came in. within a month, I think it was less than 2 months, and then he came in. Then the situation was bad because the vilification, the attacks, and I couldn't stand it. So I just forgot about it. Then a former constituency chairman, Mr. Yibi Yankson, that could offer him the member fee. And the microphone no said, look, Kwamina, politics is shasa, wunjen to. Nambum, assembliara to wabre woman, men give up. Me pede equal assembly. Neka start or grassroots in ama imma umuda, obiara nka nche de iswa. Papa nka sam na asam yam na. Nti me be fie me dwendwen ho na me say okay. Ye ko file. Na assembly election yes started. So on also campaign no. Then my own party picked their candidate against me. So it was again very frustrating that I see me feel that
what's happening?
The done deal. If the whole party machinery, what by my electoral area, what by Shahuba, and then I watch Shahuba, or in Yamuna Majija, it shall the police as na Obi showing him. Oh, Obi to be showing you also, I will overpay on the Eba Umami no is in paying, Yan Tomo, Kauna. These were words are. But public life know what the hate were. And Shana, when you are ditching, baby, and I took it personal, very emotional moment. So I said, look, let me forget about it and do my business and go and finish my law. And see, I think me picture now, Mazema, my uncle Funo, Mona, you work with you do no. And I walk up for forms in the electoral commission. No, what year was scanning, I was the total. No, was a credit. Now, Miss Member campaign, be a member. So for about 2 months, I wasn't going to win, but Miss Monko. So na na Santo Korea, my friend I ever pay born. On Korea no Lidi, Gabi, Alaji, Amafati, Kakra. Those group, women area boys and girls and you win more were classmates at yesterday school. No, I was year campaign. Into work campaign without me. I think Gabi printed me posters. Nanga says Nisika on your brother, Walker printed me to share posters. Now why a campaign? And the day no, let me know what pede. Me share. I was that time na trucks box sites. I was there. And the more box sites, I was and I walk from there. Me win.
Wow.
Around 6 o'clock, what's me win? Into no as a chain wobo gu nkran. Now what you must win about. The me win. And then after that. Was the BB friend presiding member? In fact, I didn't know the assembly concept. What's the presiding member? That time it was Winneba, Bodriase, Kaswa, Ewutu Senya, Breku, the whole Bontrasi.
You presided over all
yes, that huge district at the time. And Yakotu Aba. Now I didn't even know the government appointees. And my first time. Now, your career called 3 rounds. In there, presiding member election is the most difficult election in our governance structure. You need 2/3 of all members, not 2/3 of members present.
All members.
For MCDC, it is 2/3 of members present. But for presiding member, it is 2/3 of the electoral college. So you call 3 rounds. And eventually, I won.
I see.
And then
we'll come back to the story. We'll come back to the story because a future constituency, because clearly, I'm sure everybody has come to the realization, understanding. So in Adom, you are in full control of that constituency. So that will be discussed about that time, even though few skirmishes can occur constituency. But Belidi party, I know my right. Quite difficult. And are you sure in times like this? Because you can be a leader, but the timing could be wrong. But are you sure, in our honesty, you are ready and prepared for this mantle also to lead the MPP in its difficult moments and toughest moments?
Well, my, was a kind of minimum waffle. On your Nimpana Honzen noses in him. Or your therefore Nisser now Honzen and Empire Ball, a Nadum. opinion a when your baby ko haru neseku onye metina phone menyim za ohuni. He first saw me through my Masonic career. He made sure I was initiated into masonry and make sure that Martin Wiaza Sekakra. Onye metina ho okaka politics in some chem kakra. And he made me aware of the character of the party. Intino, at least, kakra no okay chairman. Na kakra mis benyu hun. Me jizi de okono oye zinumpa nyame zimbafum. Obey.
You are coming into a team. It looks quite divided because even your takeover no na drama wo and you are forced obi amanasi form ana yempene ema obi ma ana ye de anyway afa ana ye ntiase ma we mehye ana senka we kwa na senka we ko begina ana senka ma we you are coming to superintend over a situation that is not as smooth as should be. How are you going to manage the situation?
It can never be smooth, but it's navigatable. It can never be smooth, but it can be navigatable. MPP on here more from a party. Them work a catch for is a lawyer. Na 20 years at the bar, obi 30 years. Says he a doctor. Na inyima obi ni mechen. A professor, obi so a professor. Inti MPP no or morte. But so was it to me be shawonsa. I want kasano or de inya ahobrase uzikan. Ne hu anamon bi or de twa enyim payimfo no bananto. Na we tum na wow. Because on your moframa party be them. On your party abotum akade wa more power be into my pen ebe they be into that. You need to negotiate, engage, act right, show respect. You need to control as in woman the ego. As it be now our friend ego now or control him. Or they to me crashing. Into man crashing now, you'll be in trouble. Because some of the things can be very provocative. Obibo to wash that wa kasem ya oka no wash how you react. Bojati masa. Intino sir it is the means me yase na hu da asuzi kasi bi na wazamowa. But therefore nishra ziwechira ebutu mako.
A lot of people are describing this parliament is a parliament that acts one way or the other like Students Representative Council as a school for next year, or for lack of a better word. Na more comport mo na utterances and so and you maybe it me JSM na boss na IBB on even to the extent that while party to me call out that a certain personality should get out of this administration and all those. Look as if they are not checks and balances, they are not controls when it comes to parliament and then to the majority.
Why some of these things are good for democracy. They are better than creating a culture of silence. Oma is set up as a leader. A concept that we studied in school on leadership. Also, not who you think you are, but what they think you are.
Yeah, they will dress away.
Exactly.
But they are more dress away.
Yes. And this professor, Okasam Mantase, it was at Said Business School anyway, in Oxford. And she elaborated it, explained it, and moved room. Because I realized that as leaders in the your dreams are you feel that is right for the people. What are the people thinking about us? In fact, that lecture changed my attitude in the house. How I was managing my marriage, how I was managing my kids, how I was managing my staffers in the office, how I was relating to my polling station executives, how I was relating to my driver and all. Because I realized that it was a huge eye-opener. Instead of always complaining Instead of always thinking about, it is my vision, it is me, command, do this, do that. Rather, you listen. So I'm saying that if you have a party that nkrofo express one views, of course, in a manner that would ensure that things are done right, but not in a very disrespectful way. That one, I won't endorse it. So if you see that, or you're healing, because Oma in nkrofo no ntum nkasa da obasane ne hu se nyipa zi wechi na oresana ihu onte de sebi enyi bodom nam ana da ponchi bi nam ana ejamboa nam na hu de ejamboa na oji wechi wasa nyimpa de senyi ozi wechira na so wasa ihu
osan with the team
nzimafo wo bu baby de iwotira isro nzimafo wo baby iwotira isro nti omahen na nasa woni tim nti se inye nyimpa na so okana adwe na hawo kirewa eda wo nyankopon ase na adawodo na ahwe na straighten nti for me it's good that your parliament NPP futum wakade damazi yanyi abempo nya adwen damazi yanyi leaders nya adwen. It helps our leader to go back to them and say that, look, after all, you are leading them. After all, it's about their interest. So you interlock their interest with your vision. They are to manage you and you are to lead. So if you don't allow them to manage you, you cannot lead and you cannot realize your vision. So it's a necessary evil I must tolerate, I must deal with, I must accept it. That for me to succeed is not going to be a lone ranger. It's not going to be about me, but it must be about us. And even where I disagree with them, I should find a way to explain so that nyimpano when di yawa nkade dam na ye ntime so ma ye them. And also there, so I mean so many nyimpano in yadwena. I shouldn't personalize it and attack the person, but I should take it a look. Morian me ye yenta. Into no menstruate the MPP obia wo akukudro tumukasa. Omahin, without directly responding to the issue, what has been my own posture on appointment? Look, emi no yo wo yati he nyim de MPP ye wo opposition. Me shall say no num anopa no num. All right? Radio station, TV station.
Yeah.
It starts at TV3. Yen wiempo ne ezemika. Ya Badom. Na ye fia ye ko bedwom ye ko pam sales na mo program bi enyumbi e jam pedu na pampaso. Then ETV Afro. Then oide ko Peace FM. There were people in the party na yenya in parliament. Na motuma akade. They never even stepped into any radio station. For that matter. But yaba power. Obia na ne lack, nishra, nisa. When your positions, even umpa man awaba parliament first. When your cabinet appointment. I mean me Bob no rank. Some ankasa. In fact, what you don't even know, which I said and I will repeat, is that even at parliament committee level, I was an ordinary member at the two committees.
Now that's all.
Yes, Defense and Interior and Public
Ordinary
Account.
member.
Ordinary member to the extent that a first timer was a deputy ranking and was a senior to me. A first timer at Public Account was deputy ranking and I'm a senior member. No, I was Bob no rank. But I didn't question it. In leadership, I didn't make it into leadership. Yekro ECOWAS Parliament, Zosi Waho, Yekoya 9 instead of 8. And I stepped down because it was Ghana. The whole media in the sub-region, Washer and there, Ghana to be embarrassed. No way. I resigned and came. When I resigned and came back to Ghana, I was not honored with a committee chairmanship. So the first 4 years of MPP, I was a backbencher, sat there quietly, but I practiced my law in court. I did legislative business. I was attending Parliament, always there, making sure that the little space that I got, I contributed, I learned the rules. So I never went anywhere attacking anybody publicly or whatever. So many abotar the train member and the cosmic masters themselves, they are lying things in their own time. If you pressure it, it will crash. If you pressure them, they will crash you. Divinity has its own law, and that is how I've been brought up to appreciate. Divinity has its own law.
In its own time. No?
Its own time. You can't push it. If you push it, it will break you down. So I try to take it easy. I'm human. Sometimes I get so depressed that, like the crisis in Parliament. It took Kennedy Japan at midnight. He met me at the car park. And I was so dejected. Why me? Ministerial, though I didn't want to be a minister, but at least I had not even been called. And committee level, I wasn't being considered for vice chair or chair. Not a consolation. So I was so down. And Kennedy meets me at the car park and talks to me about life. Takes me to his house. We call something midnight tea. Okay, he prepares tea for me. He takes one himself. You tea out to bed 3 a.m. and say, look, I know your business is down, but me your capital. Memo, so and so amount. Never start to build. We have you way to America, and kwaji bank bosia. So I'm saying that with all I've seen in life, in your crisis, no, in your sofu bimo wa cancel, in your nyankumbre bimo wa cancel, in your nyankubimo ni wa kasa. With all that I have seen in life, maybe biara home, because biara when you say until sometimes nyankupo motum is a rohua but to abrebom, wama akoton social beam. Na the mon social no other say sister was shebre. Na also raho. In time maybe be home. Maybe be at home. Of course, sometimes but I will quickly pray and ask God to guide me.
If you've just joined a phenomenal majority leader in Parliament, and education A to Z, common ayebo, baby, but your party at this point, maybe say briefly about the performance of your party and certain areas, was there a bit of controversy? Maybe I'll start even with that, on this matter of the LGBTQ and the pluses. Your input is quite laced with some suspicion. Me say like leaders So what really is the position of
you? See, asam no simple. Ozi Ghana asamba yentoba na yentemi mbojat masa. Nkrofo ze kase bitum na a confuse obia. Say law na mpon omahin between you and me. Kanokwa. Law no LGBT law awakana.
Minkai ni ya.
Mda.
Minkai ni na.
Yeah, but that's it. Omahin Mbrana ye dirban aspect bi wo ha ontwe mbojat masa. Emi no yo ya asem ni de besia na besia bo words yanji ntum wo Ghana. It said no, true or false. Beyin na beyin bo wor yanji ntum. Ebio se obi opanyin bi bo kaka fa abofra kakraba na sebe oyina ye awarze wo kwan bi do no nso yanji ntum. De opanyin bi ba kyerɛkyerɛ moframa dem awarze wo kwan bi do de onye wo hye dem yikodwo besiem ana kodwo beyin mu no yanji ntum. Bojat masa. Nambom se obi kodame tibienu mu na yase mbra no ene ya adwena ana onka de ifiaza na asam na anye ehwo na menyimi nnuanom enya adwende. Yes, let's legislate against it, but we should have a conviction, a sentencing regime to reform
Not to condemn.
Not to condemn or destroy. Look, I've read the Bible. I've read aspects of the Quran that talks about reformation, forgiveness, and all. And Sana Meba out with this position. There were a lot of, as far as anyone can say, me a Catholic, a practicing Catholic for that matter, very committed to my Catholic values. I spoke to a number of my father Catholic priests. I spoke to them. I spoke to two bishops. Okay? And they all agree with me there. Prison Zinze, which is there on Tree, Masa. MPCP, what I mentioned office. Leader, this aspect of custodial sentence, we are worried. We are against it, but we are afraid. You see, Obia Sodobo lose in the election, and now there, you need Jumana as politicians or a perception-driven enterprise. So people fear that they will tag them with a certain perception. Hey, I want support you trumu azina, and I want support the being the besia in what what because people fear that and sure the public may be misfed.
You will get
and in the process,
you lose their seats.
The backlash will be on them. But you see, sometimes let's be principled on what we believe in. It doesn't matter, and go out and explain it. Don't fear the propaganda. You should be bold and explain where you stand. And don't be too worried about that. But
not all people, but the reality is
that. But let me even make the point. Let me stress the point. We have a new sentencing regime by our judiciary. Which sentencing regime focuses on non-custodial sentence. And that is why I proposed exactly, but go to Nsawam. Look, I have spoken to some prison officers. And in fact, there is an MP in Parliament today who is an ex-prison officer. He brought me a confidential note. And he has not authorized me to disclose the confidential note. Look, the gayism and the lesbianism is worse in the prisons. Yes, it's a matter of fact. There are documentaries to that effect. It's public knowledge. When we were at the law school, final year, we went there. We interviewed them. Openly, they said that is the crisis. The criminal libel, prison. So what that issue? Over time, Obi came there. So I'm saying that the prison is not the place to reform the person. It's a behavioral issue. I'm not a psychologist. Maybe you have to invite a psychologist and interview the psychologist. That when it comes to behavioral offenses, is incarceration the solution to the problem? He will tell you. So I'm saying that let's put away our emotions. And on him, your son, if your son is in that situation, would you want to watch your son being jailed?
Any possible.
Would you want to watch your nephew, your niece, your sister going to jail because of that? No. But you would want a system, exactly. So if you look at the amendment I propose, I'm saying that post-conviction, we should have a mandatory counseling. Your imam or your pastor, as the case may be, a social worker,
there should be a center,
clinical
like a social
psychologist,
worker,
a chief, a prominent opinion leader, and a family member who would sit, so 3-month mandatory counseling or 6 months, as may be directed by the judge. It's one of my proposals. Community service. I have proposed a community service. Because the thing is a behavioral issue. And as a society, we should now focus on how we can reform the people and how we can help them to reintegrate. If we say go to winnable prisons, go to secondary prisons, the person goes there and it comes worse because it's behavioral. I don't be addicted to drugs. You don't throw a drug addict into jail. Obi or drug addict, you look at rehabilitation. So I plead with Ghanaians that we are together in the law, but the aspects of incarceration, I'm making my point. Let those who disagree with me bash me on social media. Let those who agree with me commend me. But we are here in this country. posterity will come and respond.
But the truth is that that's why some of us also just are.
But last point, last point. Do you know that the aspect where the media engagement on this matter is being criminalized is an indirect introduction of the criminal libel? So you or mine, if today
I have a discussion.
you have a discussion.
I have somebody sitting.
You have an editorial policy on
the
LGBT. You are likely to be,
because you are projecting it.
You are likely to be incarcerated. Should a journalist go to jail in modern Ghana? When we had said that when a journalist offends another, the claim should be a civil claim. That is why we repealed the criminal libel law. Yes, the criminal libel law on bill, because in Kano, no journalist or a mistake. But to my police station, no police wabon kwedu. At the same time, botum I assume. But since yes, journalists or a mistake, or they soon will court. Now court if you ask them. Now with this one, if you ma or your custodial sentence, 3 to 5 years. You see, we cannot build a society with an ultra-conservative thinking alone. We have to blend it. You see, ultra-conservatives must have their say. The moderates, the centrists, the center-right should also
to
have
all
their say.
stakeholders.
So that all stakeholders will look at it.
Exactly.
Because, Omahin, let our pastors start speaking up. Let the clergy come out and say that.
I think the wire no pay a certain bit of cowardice and hypocrisy.
Exactly.
And
this country,
because
I am clear on my mind.
And then again,
let's not be any incarceration.
And then again, leader, it's not even about I am Pierre now say be the attempt. Truth is that if we don't start having these conversations for the best to be done for us as a country and as a people, it's been a challenge because out there, I find you're marking a support to gay lesbianism.
No.
Now this is a situation. Yanko kenkai, o kenkai we are now. The wa kenkai we the culture say there be o. Who say o central ni crowd here o ka say. Who di hu nkomo kra na. Yeah, who di hu nkomo kra na akoya sefofo. We are following, and most of the time we follow the noise, and we end up losing big time as a country. So
and that is
what stage in the whole say?
Oh, it's at the consideration stage.
We are considering with or without the amendments.
Without the amendments, my amendments were shut down.
That we should look at these things, no?
The amendments were shut down. In fact, I even wrote a letter to former President Mahama, wrote a letter to our flag bearer, and I wrote to Attorney General that the sponsors and I should sit down and then meet our presidential candidates and explain to them that, look, the incarceration bit, you know, because, you see, it's a whole societal burden.
I would say another group, Audrey Gadjo Promoso, are raising issues on this matter.
Then to what is the state of our prisons in Ghana?
Very bad.
What is the state of our prisons?
No, but I'm saying once that consideration, it makes it very
No, we can still engage. I mean, if we are willing, as a house.
No, but the end product is what you are just pointing out.
Well, the end product, if nothing happens.
But that's what the problem is going to be.
Yeah, but you, the media, must also be heard. Your voices must be loud. Because it appears that the media itself. The truth of the matter is that the thing started with a screaming headline. Then Ghana Obiampe. So everybody is thinking that if the law is all about that. I'm saying that when a pedophile is convicted, that pedophile must go to jail. As for that one, you cannot negotiate it. That one, custodial sentence is a must. So it's not every aspect of the law that I am against. I am against the aspect now. Me feel there no one so do or saying boom baba than there oboboa or man.
I see. Alexander Fenyomak in a majority leader for the new patriotic party and in any between commander compute Ghana for us na Ghana post for say numbers compute Ghana medical catchers fridges no freezers no or gas cookers no air conditioners no microwave and afi open a desktop no toners no laptops no printers IT related products via a honest or do it all prime week nim t-shirt so sa week we na okoto ade o compute Ghana branch bia na a bono nyame anim ni wona hwehwan so kama just to suit you baby I will be also apese omo deliver at the amount no omo at the amount for computer na phone 0302 752020 and as a WhatsApp line here 0243143143 na watimi ni won edin kita ho ye de ya ma de free Ghana akọ eye abrochi say Australia say South America Asia na say across Africa Europe baby EMS parcel services and tuma jeni meko enam biara bibi person di free eye Ghana e de call amano no sa kwanya na abeto ama Ghana post for ko Facebook and Instagram and X or one or WhatsApp line abiti no na dig it down 0542 527004. Lots of your text messages about lots of questions about these are purely party questions but national conversation and business. Every back to hold my party in Komobia so then we can really look at those other matters. But a Marivy said any majority leader and a disa and Koboy. Leader Ember back near here. And no other BB Kosovo a Marshibigum Ghana man paying a dinner casa. O we try for you know actually say the Ghana AC kono but answer kono say President you ebebano I'm sure you've been hearing it and you feel it. You've superintendent over an economy leader ama a lot of us here can say times are really tough. Times are difficult. And I had to say the person here can say how did we bring these people to power? Why? What's happening? Do you feel it? Do you see it? Do you hear it? Do you read it?
Oh, sir, me pretend because of politics in there. Nti, I want to wo baby ara. Na me just there me yan kanokora. There were challenges as a country, but the situation would have been worse, but for the intervention by this government. If from 2017, 18, 19, the way I know Zamarukoye, yen inflation cry, you do single digit. Abay or to tax about trade, taxing been po ye few cry. The way I know yen CD, now whom Ojinado, one district, one factories, companies are now a bench, boy. Then from nowhere, at one chimney or to him, we are in Ghana. So everything came to a standstill. Within the period, our production in Kodo, yaka production Igozi or Edukofo market women, watu to Wosto, Abayini Sika or Donya, Nodi Yempuntu Jumano, came to a standstill. And so Abay Ejumayafu Ninara, fiti police, teacher, nurse, fire service, soldier. Aben edwumayenyi bi enyi ho a aben entumentu anaka. Oni yazeko. Aben so hu ne de eho a yewomi samentu menso amanfo wase a obeye ho. Yen electricity. Oya nkofo electricity no bo akoso. Mejitum nambom saben entum entwa na moni bi a nche electricity no bo bebi owon yentum. Dama brena me Ghana water chairman. Abenka de free water. Mo be into water bill. Meanwhile, na ye major investment ayaye wo free SHS. No so abayeze. But Abenja na now do they look, no matter what, yen sustain the free SHS. COVID no hun samsam yen won bato na then them war is started war Russia and Ukraine. Oya nkrofo propaganda nti was all more on board Russia and Ukraine. But emi no yo o mahin yenyim. The the war at this thought global supply chain.
Nobody doubts that, leader. Nobody doubts that.
Thank you.
I'll not
but let's emphasize it.
I'll not sit here and underrate the might of COVID impact and that of the Russia-Ukraine war.
Definitely.
As a cover-up.
Take away the word cover-up. You say you admit there.
Yeah.
It's a major catastrophe.
Major.
Right.
That major catastrophe.
We are part of, hold on, Omahin, with respect. We are part of a global enclave of trade and commerce. When the value chain is disrupted at one point,
it affects
everything. But in all of this, question may be somewhere there. Anna, Nimpana was it a human nation? Obotu wa manage crisis na nkrana. Masem de injo. She Omahin. Enida, na mikita 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, State of the Nation. Yes, addresses.
Yeah.
Because
I was asking that now the buy.
Right.
There was no need. You were talking about same lamentations.
Exactly.
It means that we're not progressing as a country.
I'm saying that in the dark.
Yes, Mr. So you're not doing so about Kabibiana, Ukra 2013, 2014, 2016. These same lamentations were in.
Exactly. And I was trying to tell them that I want NDC for sure. Omahin, 2015, 2016 State of the Nation, Oman paying Mahama, Oka Sembi, Nanida, and Yabe debate in the fully. It's Moko man. And you there, Oka there, one. Yensi Kasama Onko because we are still in the gorgeous back form of economy. Lamenting, you were the head of state. Now, supply chain, and Zamanu buy a wa brochu. In the rice importation, akufo. Local production of rice.
A shoot up. Through the effort of President Akufo-Addo. Meanwhile, the same President Mahama, Tamano Wabemen, also were spent over $380 million 2014 on there you to import rice, sugar, and other essential commodities. Now we have a major drop because domestically efforts are being made in the agro sector to activate production. Again, don't let us take our security for granted. Omahin, the whole sub-region. The president made mention of that.
Omahin, is it
acknowledged? It's acknowledged.
Thank you very much.
Very much acknowledged.
The whole sub-region is in turmoil. But Oman paying Akufo-Addo, Oyinaban, Emia Honenua, there, look, yada, yetumi yada, awu itumi sorry 10 p.m. a drive. Insure there obibo block or baby. Share police. Investment on Mampayina here with police. Baby afebia share Oman me start from a parliament. Oda ne fenemo puna. Me do what friend then interchange.
Those barriers.
Police wo. Etra Nima, police. Idu Jowulu, police. Abele Penankasan between Jowulu traffic light, Dimples traffic light ho. Erenam eyi wo friend and kwano do mame do kono kwano da. Police barriers ebien. Info. Nero komawako. No so benya another 2. Ekafa abofu under bridge wa benya police everywhere. Everywhere in the country, police visibility is there. It didn't come by accident. Oma abenya ordering yen nyina ye ho. Oze dem bamboy babana asomdwe aba. So magic to me there. In zaman ye 100%. But I'm saying there, compare yen Papa Mahama. Obeye ni zekre. Na to yen omampeyin abezechira oye Franka Twinyi Ejabawumia. One. Ejabawumia has fresh ideas, given the chance. He can do better for Ghanaians than Yenyanum NDC for war pretum. Omahin, has there been any change in NDC? For instance, they got their flag bearer elected over a year ago. As we speak, they've not been able to.
But leader, clearly you don't decide for them.
No, yes, but
you don't decide for them. But you don't work for them.
I agree.
You don't know how they are operating.
I am saying that the alternative is not better than.
But alternative, the normal about 24-hour economy. Alternative, the normal about 2 hours Lancashire exams, no cancellation. Alternative, the normal about 2 hours and they wanna disabled, no. whilst entering the university, you know, they will meet them halfway. Alternatively, regulating the front of Okada and the Aba. Alternatively, the Aba said the coding system.
Sarcastic?
No, it's not sarcasm.
No, are you being
sarcastic? It's not sarcasm. But the 24-hour, they have termed it as a game changer. Well, unless you're underrating it.
Okay, on my hand.
Unless you're underrating it.
Hold on a moment. President Mahama said, we are a sloganeering party. And don't you think what he's doing is mere sloganeering? What is it about this 24-hour economy? Meaning what? You know, they've all struggled to explain what they mean by.
But it gets to one point that extra time in working.
They have all struggled to explain that.
But it gets to one point that you get more time to engage more people to work at a time that the cost of electricity, for instance.
Wait. I would want to meet an NDC communicator for you to interview us on that. Okay? I don't want.
But if you sum it up, that's exactly what they're saying.
No, but they are not saying anything. You see, they are doing politics and they think they have to do politics. But what I'm trying to tell you now is that these are guys who had the opportunity for 8 years in Fiawatri. None has changed in the NDC. All their party leaders, their ministers who were in government, they told us they could not reduce electricity tariffs. They told us they could not reduce water tariffs. They told us they could not implement free SHS. Some of the things, you don't say them. I expect you to point it out to them.
But they have called for a review of the free SHS.
No, but you know
a review of the free SHS.
You know that the free SHS no 419. They said it, true or false?
That they did.
Did we implement free SHS?
My year with the challenges.
No, what I'm saying, did we?
You have.
Thank you.
It didn't come just like that. About with challenges.
Ghanaians called for a reduction in electricity tariffs in 2015. NDC said it was not possible. When we came into office, did we reduce electricity tariffs?
That's the Kwasikono is the quantity reduction. Kwasikono is the quantity reduction. Leader. I will come back for the next 15 minutes in all humility, and then we'll wrap up in 15 minutes. When I say, what time there? Nyamekwa na ya duma. And Ghanaians should... no, you have the next 10 minutes after 9. Now, if you want to wrap up.
No,
we are just going for a break. And then, Unya Kuma aye Samyeuku, ni break.
No, there's
no problem. Kwaba. Then we'll come back and wrap up in 10 minutes, and leader has to prescribe. We are just a mula break for a second, and then we are back. Oh no, break there by life. It's life.
No, not a woman. Can I call commercial break now?
Okay, so we'll be right back after this break. Text messages now. Bahana message breaking kind of but another visit by the leader. I'm waiting and I interact. Lots of your text messages. A blessing and a caution say, oh, she said, and Munyama Ghana through the party, the Ashedono, which member in your home, a young first. Leader, a brainty major issue, unemployment on the part of the youth. You can say 5 minutes next our conversation. But I want you to appeal to the youth because they continue to be the foundation of a young Ghana. The other catch up now, why you bring the call.
My name is Dasipi. Zamotun, Master, youth are Ghana in there. Abandoning him 1 hour. And this is the extra security services since the beginning of the 92 constitution. This is the government award for youth and to donor with police, immigration, fire, prisons, NACOC, and ambulance service. Recruitment are akodo odoso papa. Now so youth in the population also. No matter the numbers are we recruit one. You be an way nyakonya. Eba nurses, the teacher for wonder. In can we nursing school and I we College of Education and I we university. Not teaching a year. It can bear 4 or 5 years. And the only backlog just last year, a year 2022, 2023. Nyankopon Adom clearance Abba for this recruitment and be sure that between April and May, the various state agencies will start their recruitment exercise again. As a crowd as a country, and I'm just there. Only as I had the Takan, nanso yɛn hyɛ dɛ hu mfaso no yɛ is the private sector development ɔmahin ɔyɛ the way a yɛtum yɛ invest in the private sector na instead dɛ ɔbɛ yield the result no then akɔyɛ bibi wɔ friend consumption mfaso no mba nti mebɛsrɛ youth and mehyɛ ase wɔ winiba efutu akɔnyɛ bi a ibenyan hwɛdo yi so for instance ɔmahin